The Springfield Prodigy double stack 1911. Let's get into it. So I've actually owned this Prodigy for about 5 months now, shortly after the release. I didn't have a YouTube channel at the time, or I would have reviewed it for you then. But here we are today. We've got the 5-inch barrel with the Hex Dragonfly and a Valkyrie Olight here at the bottom. And tonight I will shoot a little bit of film for you to show you the advantage of an Olight as opposed to a Streamlight or Surefire. So let's do some shooting. So here we're about 7 yards out. We're going to be using a Black Point tactical holster. They do offer options for different types of light, Surefire, Streamlight, and Olight. I'm a big fan of Olight, so that's why I went with the option of their holster. It's very comfortable. I've got 2-inch belt loops on it outside the waistband. So let's take some shots at these steel targets. Now let's talk about the gun gripes that I've seen on YouTube. I've seen jamming issues, failure to feed, you drop the magazine and like a round or two falls out. I personally haven't had any issues with that. I don't know if I'm just lucky, but from my understanding, the 4 1/4 inch Prodigy as opposed to the 5-inch Prodigy, it does have the same recoil spring. And most of the issues I've seen have been on the 4 1/4 inch. So I think maybe that little bit more distance to travel for the slide to come all the way back with the same amount of pressure on the recoil spring, maybe that's why I'm not having those issues. I've also seen some issues with the magazines themselves. I also have not ran into that issue. I've been very fortunate that way as well. So as far as the price point for what you're getting with the Prodigy, I do think it is worth it. I personally carry it. I carry it for self-defense. It is the firearm that is in the lockbox next to my nightstand, and so if I were to ever have to use it, I would be confident in using that to defend myself and my family. So with that being said, we're going to take some more shots at the steel targets here, and then we'll pick up the pace a little bit, maybe do a mag dump or two. We're at a very nice range today. A buddy of mine out in Ridgeville offered us to come out here today, so really thankful for that. First mag that we shot. Of course, you saw the first shots earlier in the video. Slide lock back, no jam, no failure to feed, no problems at all. Let's go on to the next one. So let's talk about magazine sizes for the Prodigy. When you buy the Prodigy out of the box, you can either purchase it with a Hex Dragonfly or without. Unfortunately, the one that came to the local store that I shop at did not come with it, so I had to buy it separately. Not really a big deal to me. But it does come with a 17 and a 20 round magazine. So your full capacity is 17 plus 1 or 20 plus 1. I also do have another magazine with me here today. It is a 26 plus 1. So you can imagine how kind of ridiculous that mag looks sticking out. I mean, it's pretty far. It almost looks about there. And I'll probably end up shooting that one here in a little bit for you. Something kind of interesting, though, just to be aware of, when you're shooting the Prodigy, so of course we're unloaded right now, you cannot load the magazine without the rack or the slide being racked to the back. So you try to push it in and you just have this resistance. It's not really an issue for me either. I mean, because 95% of the time when I'm loading a firearm, I have it racked back anyway because I'm ready to lock and load. So as you can see, magazine goes straight in and you're ready to go. So this is a 17 round magazine. We're not necessarily going to go for accuracy. We're just going to go full throttle. We're just going to let it rip and see if we have any type of jams, failure to feed, anything like that, to kind of put, you know, some of these reviews and doubts to rest. So again, not going for accuracy on this. I did change the angle for you so you can be here on the side to see everything that, you know, typically I would see. And let's just dump this mag and see how we do. Hold on. No problem. Now obviously we see the gun functions well, so now we're going to go for some accuracy testing. We're going to shoot from about probably between 7 to 10 yards, and I only have one camera, so I'm going to take the camera and basically put it right to the target so you can see. And we did go ahead and load up the 26 round magazine just so you can kind of see what that looks like here. I mean, it just looks like an absolute monster. We're not going to do all 26 shots. We'll probably do a group of 5, and then of course some more shooting afterwards, and obviously take some more of the distance a little bit further out. So again, this is a accuracy test. We're going to be shooting 115 grain federal from about 7 yards. So obviously I pulled one, but overall grouping from 7, I can live with that. We're gonna take 5 more shots. Much better. Had to switch mags in the middle of that, I apologize. But, as you can see, also accuracy, not a problem. So now we're gonna go back to the house real quick for a quick breakdown of the gun. Basically how to field strip it, take it apart so you can clean it, how to put it all back together. Just full disclosure for YouTube, this is not adding or modifying anything to the firearm. It is simply field stripping for cleaning, and that's it. Now that we've been out to the range and done some shooting with this, I wanted to break it down to kind of show you how to take it apart and clean it. Overall, I love shooting this gun. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail as well while we have it just right here. You know, you've got a forged steel slide, a forged steel frame, polymer grip, and I mean, with the red dot and the added weight with the light here on the front, you can see while I'm shooting, like, it just stays on target. I mean, it is just a phenomenal pistol. Doesn't leave too much to be desired in my opinion. I also like the fact that, you know, it takes all 1911 parts. Other than the trigger itself, I mean, you could literally swap anything else in here and upgrade as you see fit. So we're going to go ahead and drop our magazine, make sure the gun is unloaded, chamber is clear. And since YouTube does not like us installing or taking lights off or sights or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and then we'll come back to take this thing apart. And there we go, the light's off. Okay, so to break this thing down to clean it, because, you know, we have had quite a few rounds through it at the range today, and of course, prior to going to the range today. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a size 4 Allen wrench here. And you're going to need to place it right here in the front. And here's how I do it. So I'll go ahead and rack my slide back, lock it in its lock position. As you can see, we're nice and dirty. So what we're going to do is insert, kind of loosen that a little bit, not too much. Remove your Allen wrench. And then what you're going to need to do is move the slide forward to this notch here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Actually, I just passed it. Sorry, I'm going to try and do this as smooth as possible. So we're going to want to be right there. So I can usually push this out with my finger. It's not too hard to get out. Sometimes I'll use the Allen key. And there we go. So our slide stop's been removed. Now don't just let go. So what you're going to do is slowly release. What that's going to do is let your slide travel. And that's going to allow that to come off the frame like so. Normally it's a little bit smoother than that. I apologize. So you're still under spring tension. So you're going to want to hold the spring in place. And then you're going to continue to rotate and rotate and rotate until it comes free. As you can see, like, it just flew right over here onto the desk. So I'm going to pull our spring and guide rod out. And there's also a little sleeve in here that you'll want to remove as well. All right, now once you do that, you will be able to take your slide and it'll come straight out of the front. Oh, excuse me. You need to drop your barrel link down, and then it'll come right out of there. And there you have it. And grab this little piece that flew off right over here. So this is the back of your full-length guide rod. So basically what happens is these two pieces screw together like so, and that's what stops your recoil spring right there at the end. So while I have this apart, I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and then we'll be right back to put it back together. Now that we're all cleaned up, let's go over some of the other intricate details that I wanted to cover about this pistol. I mean, this 5-inch bull barrel, this thing is just a beast. I mean, just check it out. It's just incredible. Solid steel. I mean, it's just high quality. It's super easy to clean. I mean, it's just very impressive. And also, you can see here, this is the feed ramp for the rounds into the barrel here. And sometimes it's really hard to get the grit and stuff off of these kind of things, but just the way that they have made this, it's just super easy. The cleaning solution that I use Carbon Killer. I spray it, let it soak for a few minutes, and then most of the stuff just wipes off. Some other firearms, it's a little more difficult. Just depends on the material. But with majority of this being steel, it's fairly easy. So what we're going to do now is start our reassembly. So you're going to drop your barrel link here. And you're going to drop your barrel in. Make sure it slides all the way to the back here. You're going to leave your barrel link down just for a second. And so here's where it gets a little tricky, because this guide rod, with it being a 2-piece section, so first you're going to drop in your sleeve, and you'll see that it has a little flare to this side of it. That's going to go towards the back of the pistol. So you drop that in. And then it gets a little interesting here as well. So the spring, you'll notice one side is closed and one side is open. The open side I put towards the front of the pistol. So I drop it in, and then you kind of have to do this in like a sequence, and it's kind of difficult, so bear with me if I don't get it first try. So we're gonna move the barrel link back, and then this curve obviously goes along the barrel as well. That helps with while it slides along. So you're gonna take the back of the guide rod and the front of the guide rod. Of course, make sure you have the threaded end going in so they can thread together. So then you drive your front of the guide rod through this sleeve that you've already put in place, and then you're going to start compressing your spring down. And like I said, this is where it gets a little tricky, but once you do it a couple times, it's not too bad. So you push it down, okay? So now we've got it down in there. Hopefully you can see that. So now what I have to do is basically manipulate. See how the spring is kind of like twisty right now? So I've got to manipulate the spring a little bit, and I'm holding tension. See how I can move that up and down? So what I'm going to do is have that line up. There we go, I got it. So now it's started to screw in just a little bit. So I'm not going to tighten it all the way down. I'm just going to get it to where I can, you know, get a good grip on it at least. Make sure you don't cross thread. Good Lord, do not do that. So I feel like it's a little tight, so I'm going to back off and I'm going to come at it again. See how it's nice and smooth turning now? There we go. All right, so like I said, do not tighten it all the way down right here. Hold pressure on your spring. Make sure your barrel link is down, okay? Because it needs to be able for, once you get it in, you need to be able to put your slide lock back through. It needs to go through this hole here. So hold tension, come back here. You're just gonna slide it right all the way from the front, start coming back. Once you get to about halfway point, you can let go. Your spring will be then retained inside the frame, and you're gonna move back, okay? Now, switch it back over. Now remember, we had this notch here lined up here with the back of the slide lock. So we're gonna continue to do that, still not tightening. So we're gonna move it all the way back. Excuse me if some of this is off camera, I apologize. Now, I don't know if you can see the barrel link. It's not necessarily 100% lined up, so I'm going to take my Allen key and try and move it just a hair. Okay, now we've got it lined up. So now we're going to take our slide lock, excuse me. We're going to start working that in there. Sometimes you got to wiggle it a little bit, and then you're going to kind of feel a big click once it goes in the right way. And like I said, this is where it gets a little tricky too, because doing it one-handed with a camera is also hard too. So we're going to push. And now there is a little detent right here. Sometimes I have to push that as well. So give that a little press. Hold on one second. Thanks for waiting for that. I ended up letting the slide go and pressing this detent in a little bit. I'm sorry, like I said, doing it one-handed with a camera is quite difficult. So as you can still see though, it's not all the way in yet. It's not flush with the frame. So we're gonna give it that one more little wiggle and push to try and get that to click into place. There we go. Now as you can see, it is flush with the side of the frame here. That's what we want. And then you take your size 4 Allen wrench, place that in the front here, and just finish tightening that down. Just make it, you know, hand tight. I mean, it does, trust me, you don't want it to be super tight because then it's going to be crazy difficult to get off. Also, like, I've put 250 rounds through this gun already, and it's never come loose, and I've taken it apart probably 2 or 3 times now. So, there you have it. That's the breakdown. Once you do it a couple times, you know, do a functions check. Let's go ahead and reset. And I'll show you the reset on the trigger as well. I mean, it's right there. Good to go. All right, now that we're back at the range, we're gonna shoot from about 15 yards out just to finish off the magazine that I currently have in the firearm. And I'll get right back with you. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Springfield Prodigy 5-inch double stack 1911. If you haven't already, we have a current giveaway going on if you haven't seen that in the previous video of the introduction to the channel. So if you'd like to be entered into that, please go watch that video. It has instructions of what you need to do. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, do yourself a favor, get out to the range, knock out some rounds yourself, and I'll see you next time.